Hello, BookTube. This is a shelf tour of the fourth big wall bookcase, the fourth shelf, and this is the second section of that shelf. So we're going to continue on with this history of private life. This one's Riddles of Identity in Modern Times by Antoine Prost and Gerhard Vincent as the editors. Arthur Goldhammer is the translator. And Felipe Aris and Georges Duby are general editors. So, Riddles of Identity in Modern Times. The sections are public. This is copyright 1991. Public and Private Spheres in France by Antoine Prost. The History of Secrets by Gerhard Vincent. Secrets of History and Riddle Identity. Family Secrets. The Body and the Enigma of Sex. Then the next section is Cultural Diversity in France by Gerard Vincent, Perrine Simon Nahum, Remy Levu, and Dominique Schnapper. Catholics, Imagination and Sin, Communism as a Way of Life, French Judaism and the Role of Immigrants. And then the last section is Nations of Families by Christina Orfali, Chiara Sorosino, Ingeborg Weber Kellerman, and Elaine Tyler May. The Rise and Fall of Swedish Model. The Italian Family, Paradoxes of Privacy. And the German Family, Between Private Life and Politics. And then Myths and Realities of the American Family, with notes, bibliography, and an index. So there's that. It's illustrated throughout. An interesting survey. So that's all of those that I have. So I have 3 out of the 5. So I got a couple more I need to get, number 3 and 4. And then we're going to move on to Thomas Cahill. The first one here is How the Irish Saved Civilization, which is a very popular book. Now, these the end paper is very nice. And I've got a few of his in his series. So this is Nan A. Talese, Doubleday, New York. And this one would have been, let's see here, 1995. So it's the Irish role in the spread of civilization after the fall of the Roman Empire. And preserved some art in the art and literature. And this Dying Gaul, very famous. So on the back it says, How the Irish Saved Civilization is a shamelessly engaging, effortlessly scholarly, utterly refreshing history of the origins of the Irish soul and its huge contribution to Western culture. It reads like a love story. It sings in the imagination. It connects Celtic legend to Irish history, Celtic lore to Irish politics, and proves the persistence of wild Celtic love and mysticism. For its portrait of St. Patrick alone, it will resonate in the memory. And that was a blurb by Thomas Keneally. So that was the first of these. So the subtitle on this is The Untold Story of Ireland's Heroic Role from the Fall of Rome to the Rise of Medieval Europe. So the next one of these Cahills is Desire of the Everlasting Hill, The World Before and After Jesus. And this whole series is called the Hinges of History series. This again is in Nan A. Talese, Doubleday, New York, 1999. There's the author. In Desire of the Everlasting Hills, Thomas Cahill takes up his most daring, provocative subject yet, Jesus of Nazareth, the central figure of Western civilization. Introducing us first to the people Jesus knew, Thomas Cahill describes the oppressive Roman political present, the pervasive Greek cultural influence, and especially the widely varied social and religious context of the Judaism in which Jesus moved and flourished. And eminently readable. This one has illustrations, I believe, also, yeah. You can do that without the glare. Then the next in this Hinges of History is Sailing the Wine Dark Sea, again by Cahill. Why the Greeks Matter, the end papers. So it's the 4th volume of the acclaimed Hinges of History series. Here they show you a list of those volumes. So it is exactly what it says. Why do Greeks matter in our culture? And then the final one of these I have, actually an autographed copy, is Heretics and Heroes: How Renaissance Artists and Reformation Priests Created Our World. Here's the end paper. There's it. So in Volume 6 of this acclaimed Hinges of History series, Thomas Cahill guides us through the thrilling period of the Renaissance and the Reformation, the late 14th to early 17th century, so full of innovation and cultural change that the Western world would not experience the like again until the 20th century. Beginning with the continent-wide disaster of the Black Death, Cahill traces the many developments in European thought and experience that served both the new humanism of the Renaissance and the seemingly abrupt religious alterations of the increasingly radical Reformation. This is an age of the most sublime artistic and scientific adventure, but also of newly powerful princes and armies and newly found courage, and many thousands refuse to bow their heads to the religious pieties of the past. It is an era of just discovered continents and previously unknown peoples. More than anything, it is a time of individuality in which a whole culture must achieve a new balance if the West is to continue. So that's the last one of those I have. Then there's this, The Cultural Atlas of the World, the Greek World, by Peter Levy. End papers. This is, the editor of this is Graham Speak. This is the Equinox Books. Let's see, copyright Oxford Limited, 1990. So part 1 is the land and context. Part 2 is the Age of Bronze. Part 3 is the Age of Tyranny. Part 4, the Age of Pericles. Part 5, the Age of Alexander. And Part 6, the Fate of Hellenism. Plenty of maps. Study ancient Greece. Mycenaean survivals. The Mother Goddess. Quite a good volume, actually. Then, The History of the Ancient World, from the Earliest Accounts to the Fall of Rome, by Susan Wise Bauer. This is Norton. W.W. Norton, New York. 2007. So it's a survey history. So here, let me see, I'll give you, like here's a example of one of the timelines used. Now here's a map. Picture of the author. So it's a good handy survey in the ancient world. And here's something quite a bit older. The New Century Classical Handbook, Appleton Century Crofts. Cat in there destroying something in the other room. Edited by Catherine B. Avery. Editorial consultant is Jotham Johnson. Affluent Crops Incorporated, New York. This came out in 1962. There's the end paper. Some of the illustrations. So a handy little handbook. And then this last one here, History of Greece, 4th edition, J.B. Bury and Russell Meeks, St. Martin's. It was actually a volume I used in the History of Ancient Greece class I took at the University of New Mexico. This is 1975. I'll give you an idea how it's laid out. Good survey again. So that is the second section of the fourth shelf of the fourth Big Wall bookcase. Thank you, Bookcase.